What we're trying to do is add two things, well, actually three things. Put a Bible foundation, and we're constantly working on that so the Bible's applicable. Studying the Bible, passing the Bible like you pass a course in class is not really what we're doing. If we're doing that and that alone, you can't get it. The second thing is, you might want to know this about Crown College. The second thing is its place in emphasizing the local church. The last thing left in America, anywhere, is a local Spirit-filled church. At times in human history, it is the influence of a holy church, a people, a Spirit-filled people, who bring everything else back. They hold the level. They fill the breach. They keep the tide back. So when churches are gone, just think, people go wild. Influence. Everybody does what's right in his own eyes. That's anarchy. That's the second thing. And the size of a church is not the important thing, the sort of church it is. Every church should be measured in its likeness to Christ. So you might have a church that's a church of 70 people. That would be a greater church than a church of 1,000 people. Because if you put Christ in a place, He's the one that makes the difference, right? Is that right? And the more like Him we are, the greater difference we can make. The fact is, the greater difference we've allowed Him to make in our lives, the greater difference we can make with our lives. You might want to write that down. The greater difference we allow Christ to make in our lives, the greater difference we can make with our lives. So the real measure of a church is in its likeness to Christ. These are mature statements, and you'll be ready for them when you're about 40. Seriously. The third thing that is unique here is my almost obsession with our Christian heritage. Hence, the way the whole thing looks and design. When we were building this college campus, someone said, let's try this. And a man who knows me well, who was an architect, said, he won't like that. But it's the latest, greatest thing. They said, he won't like it. Some sort of psychedelic looking, cutting edge something. He won't like it. What I'm looking for is the greatest technology. We're going to have that. We were one of the first campuses to actually wireless everything. So some people think, we're still using selectric typewriters here, and if that's all we had, that'd be good. But I'd like to step into the Christian life and world and imagine that we were timeless. Timeless. Sometimes you see a house that appears to be timeless. I like that. But here in our facility, you're walking through a heritage and you're getting the idea that we're not the first people to have a good idea. Mothers and fathers we appreciate, granddaddies we appreciate. A century ago, somebody tried to do the right thing, John Knox preached the truth, the Mary Queen of Scots. Richard Baxter, I have a copy of Richard Baxter's Reformed Pastor. It was published in 1657 in my library. And the book is still in print. Not that particular copy, but... And I want you to understand you're part of the greatest heritage on earth. Now, where that's going to help you someday is when you get overpowered by people who want to change everything just to be as they might say, cutting edge or 21st century. I wrote a book a few years ago on becoming a first century church. And then I took 21st, I marked through an X, and it's still that way. And the president of the Southern Baptist Convention, they have 35,000 churches. I'm not a Southern Baptist. I'm an independent Baptist. There's about 15,000 of those churches in the country. But he wrote me a letter, and he said, this is what we need. So people understand, you know, they understand. So I have to speak, and you have to speak as Christians to validate what we believe is the truth, and to say, look, no matter what's going on out here swirling around, there is a fixed point of reference in God and God's Word, and that's where we need to stay, right?